Today I'll be talking about an invention or idea generating activity designed to help you get started on your values paper called looping. Essentially, looping involves blending a series of free writing sessions with brainstorming sessions between each loop. I'll go through each step in the process and what follows and talk about what to expect as I move along. Begin by picking 5 or 6 values from the core values handout on Moodle. Next, write down one representative experience that corresponds with each value on your list. Once you have that, pick one of those to work with. It might not be what you stick with for the whole time that we're working on this, but it's a good place you got to start somewhere. Now it's time to do a focused free write. What's a focused free write? Well, free writing is a brainstorming activity in which the writer just starts writing. No preconceived ideas about what they're going to do. If you get stuck, you keep your hand moving by drawing or writing tick, 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 or word, word, word over until something starts you up again. The main thing with free writing is to just keep going. For a focused free write, you do head into the writing session with an idea. In this case, it's something about your values. Everything else is the same as a normal free write. Here's an example. When I did this first looping exercise, I wrote about a mistake, but we can pretend like it's about a value. I knew that I was going to be writing about a mistake, so that's where I started. I wrote it at the top of the page. So I thought that I was going to write my paper about my mistake of constantly engaging internet trolls online. I started writing it, but as I got into it, I realized I didn't really want to write about that. So I wrote, I don't want to write about this. Mistakes, mistakes. What are my mistakes? Suddenly, I had a memory of a student I had in grad school who plagiarized. It was my first year teaching and my first case of plagiarism. I ended up being completely blown out of proportion, and I really regretted how it was handled. So during that free writing session, I completely stopped writing about internet trolls and shifted over into talking about that student and the plagiarism situation that we had. Free writes are not about perfection. Even though I've shown you that draft in the previous slide, and I want you to turn in your free writes, it's okay if these things are a mess. This is about generating ideas, not about producing drafts. No one even needs to see them. And in fact, even though I'm having you submit these for credit, I'm not actually going to sit there and read them. That's like peering into somebody's messy drawers and dusty closets. But I do want to give you credit for doing it. So that's why you're going to go ahead and turn it in. All right, so back to square one. This whole thing begins with this free 7-minute free write. After you've completed that, then you pause. You read your free write. You look for the heart of the matter, the intriguing bits. You highlight, underline themes, you look for patterns. I look for what I call sweet stuff that I can use as the core for my next piece. So here's mine. If you look at my example, one of the things that jumped out to me as I reviewed my free write is that I described my old office as a dungeon. And I viewed myself as a bad guy. For some reason, that image really stuck with me. So you get the idea here. It's the thing that jumped out to you, and then that's what you're going to use when you start the second loop. So what the second loop is, you go back, you have the sweet stuff that you picked out from your first loop. Then you set your timer again for 7 minutes, and then you use the sweet stuff, whatever it is that you discovered as you reviewed your previous free write. You use that sweet stuff as your starting point. With me, I literally started with the dungeon idea, and I said, we're in the dungeon. Also notice I shifted to writing in a word processor. I had an idea and I was faster on the computer and I thought it was a better use of my time. It's great to go back and forth between hand and computer, by the way. Once you've finished another 7 minutes of free writing, you can repeat the whole process again if you want. You can do this as many times as you need to until you get where you need. You may be ready to actually start drafting your essay, but you can free write on a computer pretty easily, and then everything is typed up and you can delete it later. The next step would be to look for more sweet stuff in this second free write. For me, I really liked my first paragraph, but I wasn't as happy with my second because I realized I needed to show, not tell. And so I rewrote it again. This is my next free write loop. You can tell just by looking at it that I brought in more dialogue and kept the scene in a more concrete, character-driven way. After this, my alarm started to ring, and I just turned it off because I was ready to go and I wanted to keep going. And so I was able to finish mine pretty quickly. So just to review this process, you will pick 5 or 6 values from the core values page that you have on Moodle. Write down one experience for each of those values. Pick one of those. You will free write on that value for 7 minutes as a focused free write. Then you'll read your free write looking for patterns and themes, or what I call the sweet stuff. Free write for 7 more minutes using the sweet stuff as your new starting point, and then repeat as necessary until you have a draft. My pro tip is to try alternating handwritten free writes and writing on a word processor. Just so you know, these instructions are available on the looping assignment on Moodle. So if you want to get away from the video, it should be pretty easy to do it. All right, that's it. Happy free writing. Don't get stuck in a free writing loop, but I hope that you have fun with it, and I hope it works well for you.